Hello friends, myself Shriram Korde. Let's see another example where we will use while loop and we will identify whether the input number is even or odd. Now this needs to be done repetitively. Why? Because we can write a code which will check whether the remainder is 0 when we divide it by 2. So you can always use modulus operator and divide it by 2 and then you check the remainder. That is what basically you do. And then if it is remainder is 0, then you say it is even, otherwise you say it is odd. Now that logic we know, but if that particular thing needs to be done repetitively, then how are you going to do? So let's do that. So for that now I require a counter. Why? Because now I am going to use while loop. So I will use here say counter and I will initialize this counter to 0. Then after that I will have while loop, and in the while loop I am going to check whether the counter is less than say 5, and then in this I am going to check if the input is basically less than, or rather it is remainder is 0 or not when you divide it by 2. So that is what I want to do. That means now I require another variable and I will say the variable is say n, okay, which is the input number. So I will check whether the input number is basically remainder is 0 or not. So for that now I need to take input. So how do I do? So here obviously I will have to have printf, and then I will say here enter a number, and then I have to do scanf on this. So if I do that, then I am able to get the number multiple times in the loop. And then what do? I basically check the number. So what I do, if n mod 2 whether it is equal to 0, then I am going to say printf even number, else I am going to say printf odd number. So it is very easy that way. Now another thing is I need to increment the counter. So how do I do? So I basically will say here counter plus plus, or I can say counter plus 1 also I can do. So I will say counter plus plus, which is good enough for me right now. So while counter is less than 5, and then so how it will work? Counter is 0, yes, counter is less than 5, it will enter into this loop, it will ask user to enter the input, it will tell whether it is even or odd, it will go back, okay, and that's the way you basically are doing this job multiple times. So let's see this working. So let me just do one thing. I'll close this because earlier I was executing something else. So let me once again. Okay, so it has asked us to enter a number. So let me enter say 6. So even number it has told. Then once again it is asking enter a number. Why? Because it has come into the loop. So enter a number and then you need to enter. So what we can do is we can stop it for the time being, and we will simply put a backslash here so that it looks neat, and let's run it now. So we will enter a number, let's say I enter a number 8, so it will say it is even number. Then once again it is asking enter a number, enter another number, or essentially you need to enter a number. So we will say 73, so it will say it's an odd number. Then let's enter another thing, say 31, so it will say odd number. Then 74, so it is saying even number. Then we'll say 90, it will say even, and that's it. Why? Because now it has executed 1 2 3 4 That means 0, 0, this is 0 at time, this first time, this third, second time 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means, and then this is the last one. Why? Because we started from 0, 0 to, basically you started it, so it asked it and then it stopped. So essentially what has happened, because we started counter at 0 and we had the counter less than 5. Okay, so because of that it asked, then it incremented, then it came here, like that it happened. Okay, so if I reduce this counter, suppose, because I don't want so many times, so I'll reduce it and then I'll once again do it here. So let's do it now. So enter a number, say 3, it is odd number. Enter a number 89, it is odd number. Then enter a number here 67, which is again odd number. So you will see essentially it stopped. Why? So 0, 1, 2. That is what I wanted. So because we started with 0, so 0, 1, 2, like that. So that's why it ended below 3. So that's precisely a while loop works. Now, is this good enough? Yeah, it is good enough. However, there is a limitation. Now, what is that limitation? Here I have to tell how many times this program will run. Now if this is a simple problem like identifying a even number, then it's okay. But if I have to do, say, some calculation, say financial calculation or something, and repetitively, then by telling count earlier itself is a problem. So we now need to have a little better approach than just telling a counter with some particular number and it executes that many times. So probably we need a little more flexibility, and that flexibility can be achieved by doing something which I told you earlier, do while. Okay. So do while is basically what will happen, do while, and in the while you basically are going to have condition. Okay, and then we have to give a basically the semicolon here, that is very important. Okay, so do while and then this ends with semicolon. Now this, here in the while there is no semicolon, for there is no semicolon, but if you write do while, then obviously you need to take care that there is a semicolon. Okay, so do while is the same way, you can see there is a while, do while. So what happens, like when you write do while, so do, you will have a curly bracket and then here you will write a condition. So this is where you write a condition and then you have the semicolon. Now that means it's going to do at least once. Why? Because let's say in your day-to-day life you want to open a bank account, you want to write a software which will take care of banking operations or say insurance operations and things like that. Or even if you want to play a game, then at least you should play a game once and then it may ask you whether you want to continue or not. Okay, and it at the first time itself it will not say that you can play the game only 5 times or 4 times or 10 times, like that. You will play it once and then it will say, do you want to continue? Then you say yes, then it will continue, otherwise it will stop. Okay, or it will end essentially. So that particular scenario can be basically be done, can be replicated using a do while loop. That means do while loop will execute once at least, so it is going to execute once. So that is very important. So it will execute the do portion, that is the do portion once, and then depending on the file condition it will continue or it will stop. Okay, and then execute once is must, and then depending, so this is very important, depending on while it will continue, or exit, that means it will end the execution. So let's see this in action. So what we can do now is we will use the same example which we just did, like we basically were trying to find whether the number is a prime number or not. So we will do that and we will solve it using do while loop. So let me just copy this code so that I avoid too much of typing. Okay, and now we will have the same thing. So now here we have to do some little trick. Okay, so here we obviously are going to take a number, so that portion remains the same. Now as I told you, like this particular thing will go away and there will be do statement. So do, then curly bracket, then obviously same thing will happen, enter a number, it will scan the number, then you will write a code to check whether it is a even or odd number. And now you want to basically, you don't require a counter. Why? Because now it's not going to be happening for fixed number of iterations or fixed times. Okay, So you now basically need to do here by doing some check in while. So I told you like this is the way you write while. Okay, so you write while. So now because of that, now you now need to have some condition. So what is that condition? So you will ask the user, do you want to continue or not? So that means now you need to take input from user. So let me just put here char, and I will basically do here char ch. Okay. Now I am going to do some little advanced thing which we will cover anyway later. But just to show you the working of do while loop, I'm taking a flexibility and doing it, because scanf doesn't work in a loop multiple times if you use, especially with this Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio. Typically, it will not work. There are other roundabout ways to do it, but instead of doing all those things, I will just simply use a simpler technique, because I just want to take whether you want to continue or not. So we will first put a message here printf, and we will say here to user to continue. Do you want to continue or do you want to continue? Do you want to continue? And then we will say yes or no. Okay. So yes is very important here. That means he has to press Y or no, or any other button. Okay. So Y is important. So to get that button, we will, or get that button press of Y, we will use a function which is get ch. There are other ways to do it. I'm telling you right now. I'm not bothered too much about what is get ch. It's going to give us character. Okay, so right now let's remember that. So it gives character and it solves my limitation of scanf, which typically comes because of Visual Studio. So it gives us the character which is typed. Okay, so whatever I type, it will give me. Okay, so what I do, I will basically have a check here, and I will check it with whether the user presses yes or no. Okay, so that's the way I will know whether user presses it or not. Okay. So let me now just run this code. So do while loop. So you can now see in the do, there is a first enter a number, then you get the number using scanf, then you check whether it is even odd. Then comes the important thing. It will print a message, do you want to continue or not? And then basically you get that actual character type. Obviously we are interested in only Y, and then you check in this, that is, this is the condition. So this is that conditional check. Conditional check. This is that check which is happening, and then if it matches yes, then it will once again go to the do, and it will once again ask user to enter. The moment you press any other key other than Y, it will stop. So let's see this in action. So let me now run this code. So it has asked to enter a number. So let me just enter a number 56. So it has said even number. Okay, and then the message has come, do you want to continue? Okay, so right now I will just disconnect it. Okay, and I will just give a nice \n so that you don't get a mess messages. Okay, so I will stop this for the time being. Okay, and then once again I will run this while. So enter a number, let's say I enter 45. So it is going to say odd number, do you want to continue, yes or no? I will press Y. So you will see it has once again asked enter a number in the loop. Okay, this is the way it works. Okay, and that get ch is a very important function which helps me to do this thing. So I will enter number, let's say 42. Okay, so it is going to say enter even number. Then I can say yes or no. Okay, I will say yes. So it has once again asked me enter a number. So I will say 34. So it will say even number. Okay, now I will say yes. Do you want to continue? Yes. So now once again it will ask, so let me just enter here 91. So it will say odd number. Now I will say no, I'm done with my job. So I will press now n or any other number. So it comes out of the program. So that's the way typically this works. So loop 3 or this code which we wrote here, it was executed fixed number of times, and that was decided by what value I provide here as a upper bound. Okay, I could have given higher number, then I had to forcefully keep on doing it so many times. So I can't give a very high number also if I give too small number, and if I want to check it for more numbers, then again this will not work. Okay, or it means it will once again I have to restart my running. So the better way is you use a do while loop. So do while loop is the control is given to us. You need to enter yes, Y or whatever character you decide. So here we have decided Y. So if the check successful, that means if this is true, so this is a conditional check, it will essentially execute into true or false. Okay, so if it is true, it goes back to do and it runs the loop once again. If it false, then obviously it comes out and the program ends. This main will end. I hope you got this working of while as well as do while together, so that you understand the differences also between while and do while loop, and also you understand how do you use while as well as do while. Thank you.